so a little bit of fun here on the channel. I like Notre Dame fans, USC fans kind of going back and forth about Madden Faraimo, who is a great linebacker who to me looks like a 5-star player. He's rated as a 4-star, but the guy can absolutely fly as an inside linebacker, 6'4", an absolute beast. He decommits from USC. I think that's an even bigger loss than them even losing a wide receiver like Jerome Myles, because you got Deuce Robinson, you got Zach Branch, you got talent out there. Woody Marks as a running back. Like, I'm not that worried about Lincoln and wide receiver play. All right. I'm more worried about, is Maeva going to be a really good quarterback, and so on and so forth. But there was a lot of fun yesterday with Madden Faraimo and Notre Dame fans, in the comments talking about USC and how it aged. I said he was favored. The Lincoln Cure video, I'll own up to that. I should have, again, titled it Favorited. I said that he was, really that the Oregon thing was a done deal. Totally was wrong about Lincoln, and he ends up staying with Kansas State. Okay, so cleaning that up a little bit, but a lot of fun with Madden Faraimo. I, again, said that he was favored to go to USC. All right. So now I'm going to describe why I think that this whole thing slipped through the cracks with USC. So one, USC, like the Jerome Myles, I mean, again, they lost out on Lewis. They lost on Myles. They also lost on Justice Terry. There were a couple of guys that then in the state of Georgia that they were really competing with in this process. They ended up getting a very good defensive lineman in the class, and they ended up around the 12th spot, okay, USC. So I'll tell you this. I'll tell you the defensive lineman that they were able to pull yesterday. That was huge from LSU, from Louisiana. They were able to get Stewart, okay, Jakeem Stewart. They needed that desperately. Right now they're 13th. Again, Longstreet, I don't mind. Okay, but I'll tell you why Faraimo, I think, bounced, and it's because of Matt Entz. Matt Entz was the linebacker coach at USC. Matt Entz was an unbelievable hire. You get him. He went 60-11 as a head coach at North Dakota State, was there with our guy Chris Kleinman, who is at Kansas State, was there from 2014. He's a 52-year-old from Waterloo, Iowa, so Midwest. You get that Midwest tough. And, he even was a part of the Cash Jacobson signing, which I really like. So this is a big loss for USC, man. I mean, Danton Lynn is a young defensive coordinator, but Danton Lynn, guys, is he's good. I mean, he was with Chip Kelly, and Danton Lynn did a really good job. So keeping Danton is very, very important here for Lincoln Riley. But losing Matt Entz, that's really tough, because this guy is, dare I say, overqualified to be a position coach at the Division I level, because he was so good at North Dakota State. And a lot of coaches go from North Dakota State right into a Power 4 job, right into a head job, just like Kleinman, even, Bowles, or who's the coach that with Carson Wentz, Todd Bohl, BOHL, Wyoming. So it's interesting. Now he gets Fresno, totally deserves it. Could have went right from North Dakota State to Fresno, but has experience now with Los Angeles, which is where Fresno can recruit, which is a little bit away from LA. Okay, but Fresno State, of course, you have the Cars, Devontae Adams, Jeff Tedford. You have a lot of history out there with Fresno State football, okay? Good place in the country, cool place in the state of California, hard-nosed, tough football that is going to be played at Fresno State, all right? But this is a loss for USC. This sucks, because I think that Entz was one of the stars of their coach, stars on that coaching staff. Now they got Danton Lynn, but they do have a D-line coach that is, I think was with the Rams. So I think that they still have some very good pieces on that defensive line. For Lincoln Riley, the results on the field really hampered the Julian Lewis, really with Jerome Myles. The way that they lost to Maryland is just, you can't have that happen. A lot of tough losses. Going to Michigan again was tough. And I believe, guys, in my heart of hearts, like Miller Moss is an all right quarterback, but Miller Moss helped get them to be more focused on defense because Miller Moss was limited. I know that people can point back to Louisville in the bowl game or can point back to, the LSU game, and Miller Moss had his moments. So Miller Moss is going to try to be like a Brady Cook level, like just above average transfer quarterback at a place like Missouri. But Miller Moss is not Caleb. He's not even what Landry Jones was at Oklahoma. He's not Kyler, of course, or Baker Mayfield. And now Maeva really has talent. Maeva is taller. He's a lot faster. Maeva gives you a running threat. Maeva's arm strength is much better. Maeva is going to get this offense, I think, rolling with Lincoln. So I think that Miller Moss is a veteran. Miller Moss knew the system better than Maeva, so they put Miller Moss in, and it helped them become a more complementary style football team. I'm sure you guys know this stat, but are a little bit sick of hearing about it, USC fans, is that USC was winning all of their games in the fourth quarter and still went like whatever it was, like 6-6 or 5-7. So, again, not being able to finish, not being able to run the football late. But again, first year in the Big Ten, you have to go to places like Minnesota, to Michigan. And it wasn't embarrassing at all. I mean, they kept dang close in those football games. So again, I'm liking this iteration of Riley. Letting go of Grinch was really hard. But I think USC is going to take a jump to a 9 or 10 wins with Maeva. And then you have Hassan Longstreet there next year. If you go 9 wins next year, you can load up on the wide receiver talent. I think this is the long play for Lincoln. I think he likes Southern Cal. If I were Lincoln Riley, why would you want to go to the NFL when you're forced? You don't have the option of picking your quarterback. Like here, you have Longstreet and Maeva that are very talented quarterbacks. You can go even recruit a really good 26 quarterback. Why would you want to go to the NFL game where you're really hampered by salary cap and all of these issues? You need to go win big at USC. I mean, so many people doubt Lincoln Riley. They said, okay, your offenses were good in the Big 12 at Oklahoma, but you haven't won playoff games. And other than winning in the Big 12, you haven't won at the power level yet. You haven't won at like the big conference in the Big Ten. And yes, that's out there. But I believe Lincoln is morphing into a more physical football team. And I even think he has more talent than even Ryan Day does. All right. So USC should be okay. What is all ironic about this is what happens, guys, and cover your ears, Irish fans, but what's up with Marcus Freeman and his infatuation with leaving South Bend to go 30 minutes towards Chicago to maybe be the Bears head coach? That makes you wonder, right? So Madden Faraimo might even be back, but let's see if Freeman's going to actually stick out his time at Notre Dame and actually build them into a national championship kind of team. We're still going to see. But Matt Entz leaving, he's the linebacker coach. It makes a ton of sense, all right, that Faraimo goes to Notre Dame. And yeah, does Notre Dame have great linebacker play? 1,000,000% they do. 1,000,000%. But for Lincoln, they got involved. They actually took shots, okay, in the state of Georgia and Tennessee. They actually went out there and tried to recruit with the big boys, okay? They took their wounds. They took their hits, okay? But that is all the price of admission. Nothing but learning experience. And again, at USC, you're not getting somebody better than Lincoln. I'm telling you, Lincoln's the right guy for the job. He better not go to the NFL because I'm excited to see this thing through. I think a lot of people are off of Lincoln Riley, don't think it's going to work. I'll own it if it doesn't work out, but I believe 9 or 10 wins next year, and then they're out there competing with Oregon and Ohio State in about 1 or 2 years. This thing is going to get right. I think next year it's going to get dang good, and it's very tough to, again, compete with Oregon and Dan Lanning. If Dan Lanning ends up winning a championship this year, Dan Lanning's going to be one of the best coaches in the country, and you're going to hear Dan Lanning's name compared to the greats, okay, which I don't even think that Dan Lanning wants to do, all right? But it's not easy to win in the Big Ten, all right? And I think a little bit of patience is good for USC. I think that they're building the right stuff. I think he nailed the DC hire. I think that they were in some big-time battles, okay? I think that, again, they're learning. They're trying to get great. They're focusing on line of scrimmage play. They're focusing on recruiting just outside of the California footprint, down in places that are down south. So again, Matt Entz, the coach of Fresno State, I think it's a decent stop. I think it's a decent style. I think that they're going to play physical. It's going to take a little bit of time. I think it is a pretty good hire. I do. I think it's a pretty safe hire, and I love it. You know, that I think that Matt Entz can control a program. So I'd rate it like a B+ hire. It's even working out better than Sean Lewis is working out right at San Diego State, where they have ugly offense, and it's oh boy, I just don't think it's going to have continuity and success. So very interesting, though. If Matt Entz basically wanted to stay at USC, he could have probably gotten a Power 4 job. Fresno's one of the best group of five, so that is out there. All right, just historically and everything. So, all righty, guys, congrats to Notre Dame. They closed the class very, very well. USC, again, like they get some pieces in this class. It's going to require some patience. I think Lincoln is still the right guy for this job. All right. And that's that. Matt Entz headed to Fresno. Okay. And USC, a little reaction to the class, which ranks them 13th in the composite for 2025. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.